Today we discode of modern telepathy science. Let's go our topic. The mystical allure of telepathy. Ancient origins of telepathy in mythology and folklore. The idea of telepathy, the ability to communicate through thoughts alone, has long captivated human imagination. Its roots can be traced back to ancient myths and folklore, where gods, shamans, and mystics were believed to possess extraordinary mental powers. In many cultures, divine beings, or enlightened individuals, were said to communicate across great distances without speaking. For example, in Hindu mythology, sages known as rishis were thought to exchange wisdom through mind-to-mind connection, while Greek legends speak of oracles receiving divine messages without spoken words. Similarly, indigenous traditions around the world often depict shamans as capable of telepathic communion with spirits, ancestors, or animals. Such beliefs reinforce the notion that thought transference was a mystical gift, accessible only to the chosen few. These ancient stories laid the foundation for humanity's enduring fascination with telepathy. Telepathy in literature and popular culture. As civilization evolved, telepathy found a new home in literature and popular culture, becoming a hallmark of science fiction and fantasy. The 19th and early 20th centuries saw a surge of interest in psychic phenomena, with authors like H.G. Wells and Edgar Rice Burroughs incorporating telepathic communication into their works. The rise of spiritualism and paranormal research during this era further fueled the public's belief in extrasensory perception. In the modern era, telepathy continues to thrive in books, films, and television. From the Jedi's Force bonds in Star Wars to Professor X and the mutants in X-Men, telepathy has become a powerful storytelling device. Whether depicted as a natural evolution of the mind or a supernatural ability, it often symbolizes deep connection, hidden knowledge, and the ultimate expansion of human potential. Telepathy as a subject of scientific inquiry. Despite its strong association with myth and fiction, telepathy has been the subject of serious scientific inquiry. Early parapsychologists in the late 19th century, such as those involved with the Society for Psychical Research, attempted to test telepathic abilities under controlled conditions. In the 20th century, experiments using Zener cards, conducted by J.B. Rhine at Duke University, sought to provide empirical evidence of telepathic communication. While results were often inconclusive, studies continued to explore the phenomenon. Modern neuroscience and psychology approach telepathy with skepticism, often attributing seemingly telepathic experiences to subconscious cues, intuition, or coincidence. However, some researchers speculate that advances in quantum mechanics and brain-to-brain communication technology could one day provide a scientific explanation or even a method for telepathic interaction. The enduring allure of telepathy. Why does telepathy continue to captivate us? Perhaps it stems from a deep-seated human desire for connection and understanding beyond words. It represents a world where barriers to communication dissolve, where emotions and thoughts flow seamlessly between minds. Whether as an ancient legend, a literary trope, or a future scientific breakthrough, telepathy remains a compelling concept, one that bridges the mystical and the possible, keeping the human imagination forever intrigued. The science of telepathy. Exploring the physiological basis of telepathy and the brain's electrical activity. Telepathy, the ability to transmit thoughts from one mind to another without spoken words, has long been a subject of fascination. While often relegated to the realm of science fiction and the paranormal, some researchers have explored whether a physiological basis for telepathy could exist. The human brain operates through complex electrical and biochemical processes, generating electromagnetic fields as neurons fire and communicate. Electroencephalography (EEG) has shown that the brain produces measurable waves such as alpha, beta, and gamma waves depending on mental activity. Some theorists speculate that if two brains could synchronize their electrical patterns, telepathic communication might be possible. One area of interest is brain-to-brain communication technology, where scientists have successfully demonstrated rudimentary mind-to-mind interactions using brain-computer interfaces (BCIs). Experiments involving transcranial magnetic stimulation (TMS) have allowed researchers to transmit basic signals between individuals, though these methods require external devices and do not constitute pure telepathy. Still, they raise intriguing questions about whether the brain might one day communicate wirelessly without technological assistance. Examining the limitations of scientific methods for detecting telepathic communication. Despite advances in neuroscience and brain imaging, no definitive scientific evidence supports the existence of natural telepathy. Traditional experiments, such as those using Zener symbol-based tests for extrasensory perception or Ganzfeld experiments, sensory deprivation studies aimed at enhancing telepathic ability, have produced mixed results. While some studies claim small statistical anomalies, these findings have not been consistently replicated under rigorous scientific conditions. One major challenge is the lack of a clear mechanism for how telepathic signals could travel between individuals. Unlike spoken language, which relies on sound waves, or written communication, which uses visual symbols, there is no known physical medium for the transmission of pure thought. Some speculative theories suggest quantum entanglement or electromagnetic field interactions, but these remain highly controversial. Furthermore, even if telepathy were real, current scientific tools might be inadequate to detect it. Neuroscience relies on techniques like functional MRI, fMRI, and EEG, which measure activity within an individual brain but are not designed to track direct brain-to-brain interactions. Without a reliable experimental framework, the search for telepathy remains speculative at best. The ongoing debate and skepticism in the scientific community. The scientific community remains largely skeptical of telepathy, viewing it as an unproven phenomenon that lacks empirical support. Critics argue that reported instances of telepathy can often be explained by psychological factors, such as intuition, subconscious cues, or even coincidence. Cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, seeing patterns where none exist, may also contribute to the belief in telepathic abilities. However, some researchers maintain an open mind, suggesting that future discoveries in neuroscience, quantum physics, or consciousness studies might reveal new insights. The rise of brain-to-brain communication experiments using BCIs could, at the very least, offer technological pathways to a form of artificial telepathy. Conclusion. While telepathy remains an alluring concept, it has yet to gain mainstream scientific validation. The challenges of defining, measuring, and explaining telepathic communication have kept it on the fringes of serious research. However, as neuroscience and technology advance, the possibility of unlocking new forms of mental communication cannot be entirely dismissed. Whether telepathy is an extraordinary reality or a psychological illusion, its study continues to inspire curiosity and debate. 1. AMIS telepathy experiments. The Ganzfeld experiment and its significance in telepathy research. The Ganzfeld experiment is one of the most well-known and frequently cited studies in telepathy research. Developed in the 1970s by parapsychologists such as Charles Honorton, this experiment aimed to test the existence of extrasensory perception (ESP), including telepathy, under controlled conditions. In a typical Ganzfeld experiment, a receiver is placed in a relaxed, sensory-deprived state wearing headphones playing white noise and covered eyes to block external stimuli while a sender attempts to mentally transmit an image or video. Afterward, the receiver selects the image they believe was sent from a set of options. Proponents of the experiment argue that results have shown higher than random success rates, suggesting a form of telepathic connection. Some meta-analyses have claimed that participants perform slightly above chance, hinting at a possible unexplained phenomenon. However, critics argue that methodological flaws, such as inadequate controls and experimenter bias, undermine the validity of the results. Despite its controversy, the Ganzfeld experiment remains one of the most influential studies in parapsychology, sparking debate over whether telepathy can be scientifically demonstrated. Rhine's experiments at Duke University, methodology and results. In the 1930s and 1940s, J.B. Rhine, a pioneering parapsychologist at Duke University, conducted groundbreaking experiments on telepathy and other forms of ESP. His studies primarily used Zener cards, a deck of 25 cards featuring 5 distinct symbols. In a typical test, a sender would mentally transmit the symbol on a card while a receiver attempted to identify it. Rhine's experiments reported statistical anomalies, with some participants scoring above chance, suggesting the possibility of telepathic abilities. He introduced the concept of parapsychological statistics, applying probability theory to ESP research in an attempt to legitimize the field. However, his results were met with skepticism. Critics pointed out methodological weaknesses, including inadequate randomization of cards and the possibility of sensory leakage, subtle cues allowing participants to infer correct answers. Additionally, replication attempts by independent researchers failed to consistently reproduce Rhine's findings, leading many in the scientific community to dismiss his claims. The parapsychological studies of J.B. Rhine and his controversial findings. Beyond his Zener card studies, Rhine conducted broader parapsychological research into telepathy, precognition, and psychokinesis. His findings, while intriguing, face significant challenges. One, inconsistency in results. While some studies showed positive results, others failed to replicate them under stricter controls. 2. Criticism from the scientific community. Many researchers accused Rhine of publication bias, selectively reporting only successful trials. 3. Skeptical re-evaluations. Later reviews found that flaws in experimental design, such as subtle cues from experimenters, could have influenced outcomes. Despite the controversy, Rhine's work helped popularize the scientific study of telepathy, influencing later research efforts, including the Ganzfeld experiments and modern neuroscience studies on brain-to-brain communication. Conclusion. Telepathy experiments, from Rhine's pioneering studies to the Ganzfeld tests, have pushed the boundaries of scientific inquiry into the unknown. While no definitive proof of telepathy has been established, these experiments continue to fuel debate between believers and skeptics. Whether future advancements in neuroscience or quantum theory will shed new light on telepathy remains an open question, but the fascination with mind-to-mind communication persists. The future of telepathy research. Emerging technologies and the rise of brain-computer interfaces. While natural telepathy remains unproven, advances in brain-computer interfaces (BCIs) are bringing the idea of mind-to-mind communication closer to reality. BCIs allow direct communication between the brain and external devices, enabling thoughts to control computers, prosthetics, or even another person's brain activity. Recent breakthroughs include brain-to-brain communication experiments. Researchers have successfully transmitted basic information between individuals using BCIs and transcranial magnetic stimulation (TMS). Neural implants. Companies like Neuralink are developing implants capable of reading and transmitting neural signals, which could one day enable silent, thought-based communication. AI-powered neural decoding. Artificial intelligence is helping translate brain activity into text or images, suggesting a future where thoughts could be shared in real time. While these technologies are still in their infancy, they hint at a future where telepathic-like communication may become a reality, not through psychic ability, but through advanced neuroscience and engineering. Ethical considerations of telepathic technology. As telepathic interfaces become more sophisticated, ethical concerns surrounding their use will become increasingly pressing. Some key issues include privacy and consent. If thoughts can be read or transmitted, who controls access to this information? Could governments or corporations exploit brain data? Security risks. Just as cyber attacks threaten digital data, brain hacking could become a new form of intrusion, allowing unauthorized manipulation of thoughts. Cognitive overload. Constant mental communication could lead to psychological strain, affecting personal boundaries and emotional well-being. Regulating telepathic technology will require balancing innovation with individual rights, ensuring that advancements serve humanity rather than exploit it. Beyond communication, the possibilities of influencing thoughts and emotions. If telepathic technology evolves beyond simple communication, the ability to influence thoughts and emotions could become a reality. Potential applications include emotional synchronization. Future devices could allow people to experience each other's emotions directly, enhancing empathy and deepening relationships. Cognitive enhancement. Brain interfaces might enable knowledge transfer, accelerating learning, or skill acquisition. Behavioral influence. Ethical dilemmas arise if telepathic systems could manipulate beliefs, memories, or decision-making, raising concerns about free will. While these possibilities remain speculative, they illustrate both the exciting potential and profound risks of telepathic research. Conclusion. The future of telepathy research lies at the intersection of neuroscience, technology, and ethics. As BCIs and AI-driven brain communication advance, humanity may be on the brink of achieving what was once thought impossible. However, careful consideration must be given to privacy, security, and the broader implications of telepathic technology. Whether telepathy emerges as a natural ability or a technological breakthrough, its development will redefine how we connect, communicate, and even think. The question is no longer if telepathic communication is possible, but how and at what cost. Telepathy in our lives. Empathy and intuitive communication in human relationships. While telepathy in the traditional sense remains unproven, empathy and intuitive communication serve as real-world equivalents of mind-to-mind connection. Humans often sense each other's emotions without words, picking up on subtle cues like body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. This form of nonverbal communication is deeply ingrained in human relationships, allowing us to understand each other on an almost subconscious level. Some individuals, particularly close friends, partners, or family members, report experiences of knowing what the other is thinking or feeling without explicit communication. This phenomenon, often called emotional telepathy, suggests that deep emotional bonds can create a heightened sense of connection, fostering an almost instinctive understanding between individuals. The potential of telepathy to foster connection and understanding. If telepathy were to become a tangible ability, whether naturally developed or technologically enabled, it could revolutionize human relationships. Imagine a world where people could communicate beyond words. Misunderstandings would decrease as people could share their thoughts and emotions directly. Strengthen empathy and compassion. Feeling another person's emotions firsthand could lead to greater social harmony and reduce conflicts. Break barriers of language and culture. A telepathic connection could enable a deeper, universal understanding, eliminating linguistic obstacles. Even without direct telepathic abilities, enhancing our ability to tune into others' thoughts and emotions through mindfulness, active listening, and emotional intelligence could create a more interconnected and compassionate society. The transformative potential of telepathic communication for humanity's future. Looking ahead, the possibility of true telepathic communication, whether through natural evolution or advancements in neuroscience, raises profound questions about the future of humanity. Such a development could reshape social structures. With minds linked, deception and dishonesty might become impossible, forcing greater transparency in personal and political relationships. Transform education and knowledge sharing. Direct thought transfer could accelerate learning, making knowledge instantly accessible. Create new ethical dilemmas. If thoughts and emotions could be shared or even controlled, issues of privacy, consent, and mental autonomy would become paramount. While telepathy remains speculative, its underlying principles, deep understanding, connection, and empathy, are already within our reach. By cultivating these qualities in our daily lives, we take a step toward a world where minds and hearts are more closely aligned. Conclusion: whether telepathy remains a concept of science fiction or evolves into reality, its philosophical and emotional implications are undeniable. At its core, telepathy represents a yearning for greater human connection. By embracing empathy and intuitive understanding, we can bring the essence of telepathy into our lives today, paving the way for a more harmonious and interconnected future. Recent advancements in neuroscience and technology have brought us closer to realizing forms of communication that resemble telepathy. Here are some notable developments: brain-to-brain communication. Researchers have demonstrated direct brain-to-brain communication in humans, allowing individuals to transmit information without verbal or written language. This was achieved by recording neural activity from a sender's brain and delivering it to a receiver's brain, enabling tasks to be completed collaboratively without traditional communication methods. Scientific American. Multi-person brain networks. The development of BrainNet, a network that facilitates direct communication among multiple brains, has enabled collaborative problem-solving without verbal interaction. This system records neural signals from participants and transmits them to others, creating a rudimentary form of group telepathy. Electronics for you. Brain stimulation and psi abilities. Studies involving brain stimulation have explored the potential to enhance psi abilities, such as telepathy and clairvoyance. Research indicates that certain forms of brain stimulation may temporarily alter neural activity, leading to enhanced performance in tasks related to mind-matter interaction. Neuroscience news. Ethical considerations in brain-to-brain interfaces. The emergence of brain-to-brain interfaces raises important ethical questions regarding privacy, consent, and the potential for misuse. Ongoing discussions emphasize the need for comprehensive ethical guidelines to navigate the complexities introduced by these technologies. Frontiers. These studies highlight the rapid progress in technologies that facilitate direct neural communication, bringing us closer to realizing concepts once confined to science fiction. Please subscribe, like and share my channel for more informative research video. Thanks. Relax audiobook.